The breaking point. Ambassador Nadia Kauri stood before the massive crystalline chamber of the Galactic Council, her face revealing nothing of the anger churning inside her. 500 representatives from across the Milky Way watched in silence as she approached the central podium, the deep blue of her formal diplomatic uniform standing in stark contrast to the pearlescent white of the alien dignitaries surrounding her. "Esteemed council members," she began, her voice steady despite the circumstances. "For 17 years, Earth has sought to integrate with your galactic community. For 17 years, we have shared our medical breakthroughs, our agricultural innovations, our energy solutions, and for 17 years, we have been met with increasingly restrictive policies, technology embargoes, and thinly veiled contempt." High Elder Varix, the ancient Juritian whose exoskeleton gleamed with ceremonial medals denoting 8 centuries of service, clicked his mandibles in dismissal. "Ambassador Kauri, humanity's impatience remains your species' most defining characteristic. The Council has existed for 12,000 years. Your provisional membership status is not unusual for a species only 2 centuries into interstellar travel." Kauri's hand moved to her collar, brushing against the small scar where the assassination attempt 3 months ago had nearly succeeded. The memory flashed, the glint of the molecular blade, the burning sensation as it sliced through flesh, the neural disruptor implanted in her neck that had saved her life by paralyzing the Dravik assassin before he could strike again. "Provisional membership that allows you access to our innovations while restricting our representation," Kauri replied. "Provisional membership that permits your corporations to establish operations in our system while denying our companies the same rights. Provisional membership that—" "The humans are becoming tedious again," interrupted Delegate Thraz of the Meridian Consortium. "We have more pressing matters than another emotional human appeal." Before Kauri could respond, her neural link pulsed with an emergency alert. She maintained her composure, but her eyes flicked momentarily to Captain Victor Okonkwo, head of her security detail. His subtle nod confirmed the message's urgency. "Perhaps the most pressing matter," Kauri continued without acknowledging the interruption, "is the coordinated attack that began 17 minutes ago against the Europa Biomedical Research Station." The chamber erupted in confused murmurs. Elder Varix rose from his seat, towering over the smaller delegates. "What accusation is this?" Kauri activated her wrist display, projecting holographic footage above the council floor. The images showed armored figures moving through the corridors of humanity's flagship research facility orbiting Jupiter's moon. Security personnel, both human and allied alien scientists, fell under concentrated weapons fire. At 3:42 Galactic Standard Time, 6 vessels bearing Council diplomatic identifiers docked with Europa Station. From them emerged 84 commandos utilizing phase shift technology that bypassed our security systems. Kauri's voice hardened. Technology that, officially, doesn't exist in Council space. Elder Varix's compound eyes narrowed. "These are serious allegations requiring verification." "The verification is happening now," Kauri replied as the footage continued. "What the attackers didn't anticipate was our own technological capabilities. Capabilities we've kept private due to concerns about exactly this kind of action." The hologram shifted to show the attackers suddenly freezing mid-movement, caught in some invisible force field. Human security personnel, apparently unaffected, systematically disarmed and restrained them. "The attack has been neutralized," Kauri stated. "All perpetrators captured. Their neural patterns have been scanned and archived." "Would you care to see which council members authorized this operation, Elder Varix?" The chamber fell silent as the implications spread. For centuries, the council had maintained technological superiority over younger species through carefully controlled information sharing and covert operations to acquire advanced technologies. Humanity's rapid advancement had concerned them from first contact. Senior diplomat Ilzera of the Etherian Collective, known for their neutrality, floated forward on gravitational disks. "Ambassador Kauri, if your allegations prove true, This represents a grave breach of Council law. However, you mentioned technological capabilities kept private from the Council. This itself violates the Provisional Species Technology Disclosure Protocol. Carrie smiled without warmth. A protocol that applies to Council members. As of 12 minutes ago, Earth formally withdrew its application for membership. We are now operating as an independent spacefaring civilization. The announcement sent shockwaves through the Assembly. Throughout Council history, no species had voluntarily withdrawn. The benefits of membership, trade routes, defensive pacts, technological exchange, were considered too valuable to abandon. This is merely a negotiating tactic, Elder Varix declared, though uncertainty tinged his voice. The attack, if it occurred as described, was likely rogue elements. The Council would never sanction. Our neural scans indicate otherwise. Carrie interrupted. And this isn't a negotiation. This is notification. At that moment, alerts began flooding the delegates' communication systems. Across Council space, human facilities were engaging in systematic shutdown procedures. Research stations, agricultural complexes, medical facilities, energy production centers, all simultaneously beginning orderly evacuation protocols. "What is happening?" demanded Elder Varix, all pretense of calm now gone. "Protocol Omega," Carrie stated simply. "Humanity is walking away." The next hours brought increasing panic as the scale of humanity's withdrawal became apparent. 17 years of integration had embedded human technologies deep within Council infrastructure. Quantum communication relays designed by human engineers began shutting down, isolating entire sectors. Agricultural systems developed on Mars for alien biologies initiated self-contained hibernation sequences. Medical facilities treating billions of Council citizens for conditions only human innovations could address began transferring patients and archiving data before systematic decommissioning. Most shocking was the discovery that key alien scientists, engineers, and cultural figures were departing with the humans. Nearly 30,000 non-human individuals had chosen to join the exodus. 3 days later, the emergency session of the High Council faced the grim reality of humanity's departure. The economic forecasts were catastrophic. Without human technical support, 17 critical infrastructure systems would fail within a year. Medical treatments for the most vulnerable Council species would become unavailable within months. Delegate Vreen of the Commerce Guild presented the devastating analysis. Humans designed their systems with dependency protocols we failed to identify. Their technology appeared simple and robust, but contained complex maintenance requirements that only they'd fully understood. They shared enough to make us dependent while concealing enough to make us vulnerable. Elder Varix, facing the greatest crisis of his long career, turned to the intelligence services. Where have they gone? They can't have simply disappeared. Admiral Kask of Military Intelligence approached the podium, visibly uncomfortable. "That's precisely what they've done, Elder. Every human vessel, station, and habitat simultaneously activated jump drives and vanished from our sensors." "Impossible," Elder Varix declared. "Jump technology can't transport structures of that size. The energy requirements would be beyond our understanding," Admiral Kask finished. "Our analysis suggests humans have possessed far more advanced propulsion and energy technology than they revealed. We've detected unusual gravitational fluctuations in the unexplored regions beyond the Perseus Arm. We believe they've established new colonies there, beyond our reach." Diplomat Ilzara, whose species prided themselves on logical analysis, offered the most unsettling assessment. "The Council made a fundamental error in its approach to humanity. We applied the same integration model used for thousands of years, failing to recognize that humans don't develop technology like other species. Their distributed innovation model, competitive research approach, and cultural emphasis on individual problem-solving created advancement rates we simply failed to comprehend." As the debate raged on, Ambassador Carey stood on the observation deck of the Solar Exodus, Earth's massive command vessel leading the human departure. Beside her, Dr. Maya Patel, architect of the revolutionary phase shift technology that had remained Earth's most closely guarded secret, watched the swirling dimensional transition of thousands of human vessels. "Do you think they'll follow?" Dr. Patil asked. Kari shook her head. "Not immediately. Their sensors can't track our dimensional shift. By the time they develop the capability, we'll have established our new colonies and defensive perimeter. And if they come in peace, seeking reconciliation." Kari looked at the stars stretching before them, not the familiar constellations of Earth, but the unexplored frontier where humanity would forge its independent destiny. "Then we'll listen," she said. "But this time, we'll set the terms. The reckoning." 6 months after humanity's departure, Councillor Thraz of the Meridian Consortium stood in the abandoned human agricultural facility on Proxima Centauri II, staring at the dormant systems that had once fed billions across 17 worlds. The massive biodomes stretched for kilometers, their automated systems frozen in perfect stasis. Plants remained in suspended animation, neither growing nor decaying, locked in some technological limbo that Meridian scientists couldn't begin to comprehend. "Any progress?" he asked the lead researcher, a renowned Etherian botanist whose crystalline form refracted light across the control room. "None," she replied, her harmonic voice tinged with frustration. "The system recognizes our presence but refuses all commands. We've tried accessing the base programming, even attempted to physically bypass the neural interfaces. Nothing works." Thraz's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of extreme stress among his kind. "The southwestern continent of Meridia Prime has exhausted its food reserves. 20 million of my people face starvation within weeks." Similar scenes played out across Council space. The carefully constructed integration of human technology into galactic infrastructure had created dependencies no one had fully recognized until they were severed. Human innovation hadn't merely supplemented existing systems, it had fundamentally transformed them. On the medical station orbiting Joris, the home world of Elder Varix, Dr. Killan fought to stabilize patients suffering from crystalline lung disease. Before humanity's departure, human-designed nanomedicines had kept the condition manageable with monthly treatments. Now, with supplies exhausted and manufacturing facilities inoperable, millions faced painful deterioration. "We've lost another 16 today," Dr. Killan reported to the planetary governor. "Our synthetic alternatives are proving ineffective." The human nanites contained programming that adapted to individual physiologies in ways we can't replicate. The governor's mandibles clicked in distress. "Elder Varix has authorized emergency protocols. All resources are directed toward reverse engineering the human treatments. With respect, Governor, we've been trying for 6 months. The humans published their research openly, but key elements were omitted from their documentation. We believe they deliberately designed their medical technologies with knowledge gaps that only they could fill." Across the chamber, a junior researcher approached nervously. "Governor, we've completed the analysis of the neural patterns extracted from the captured commandos who attacked the human research station." "And?" the governor prompted. "The operation was authorized by unanimous vote of the Security Council. Elder Varix personally signed the final authorization." The governor's exoskeleton paled. What had been rumor and accusation now had verification. The council's highest echelons had indeed conspired against humanity, confirming Ambassador Kauri's claims. The moral authority of the 12,000-year-old institution lay in ruins. In the emergency session that followed, Elder Varix faced unprecedented challenges to his leadership. Representatives from worlds dependent on human agricultural technology, medical systems, and energy infrastructure demanded action. "We face civilizational collapse," declared the Solarian representative, her bioluminescent patterns flashing urgency patterns. "Our most advanced research teams cannot replicate even basic human technologies. They didn't just advance beyond us. They developed along entirely different pathways." Admiral Kask approached the podium, looking more haggard than 6 months prior. "We've located them," he announced, activating the chamber's holographic display. Our long-range probes detected unusual energy signatures in the unexplored regions beyond the Perseus Arm. The display showed vast structures taking shape around multiple star systems, orbital habitats, planetary settlements, and massive defensive installations, unlike anything in Council records. In exchange, humanity would provide critical support to failing systems across Council space, preventing the collapse that loomed ever closer as the months passed. Elder Varix, whose 800-year life had been dedicated to preserving the Council's traditional order, faced the most difficult decision of his career. The terms would effectively end the power structure that had maintained galactic stability for 12,000 years. Yet without accepting them, billions would suffer as critical systems continued to fail. "You knew this would happen," he finally said to Kari during their final private meeting. "From the beginning, you designed your integration to make us dependent." Kari shook her head. "No, Elder. We designed our systems to improve lives across the galaxy. The dependency was a safeguard, insurance against exactly the kind of betrayal we ultimately faced. Had the Council genuinely embraced cooperation, the dependency protocols would never have activated." As the Harmony departed with the proposed treaty, Ambassador Kari stood with Dr. Patel on the observation platform of New Earth's orbital headquarters. Below them, the blue-green world that now served as humanity's capital teemed with activity, human and non-human alike. "Do you think they'll accept?" Dr. Patel asked. Kari watched the Council vessels shimmer into dimensional transit, returning to the civilization that had underestimated humanity from first contact. "They have no choice," she replied. "But that's not why we'll succeed. We'll succeed because we offered something better than the Council ever could: genuine partnership without domination. In the end, that's the one technology they could never develop on their own." As the stars shimmered above New Earth, humanity continued building its independent destiny, not in isolation, but in collaboration with those who shared their vision of a galaxy where innovation served all species equally. The lesson for the Council was clear. In attempting to control humanity, they had instead revealed the fundamental flaws in their 12,000-year dominion. The future belonged not to those who clung to power, but to those willing to share it. "In 6 months, they've established colonies that would take our methods decades to construct," the Admiral continued. "Their defensive grid appears impenetrable to our scanning technologies. We've also detected non-human biosignatures among their populations. The allies who chose to leave with them are fully integrated into their society." Elder Varix, facing the greatest crisis in Council history, made an unprecedented decision. "We must establish diplomatic contact, not as the Council dictating terms to a provisional species, but as equals seeking reconciliation." The diplomatic vessel Harmony departed 2 days later, carrying the most prestigious delegation in Council history. 26 representatives from the Council's founding species traveled with cultural experts, xenolinguists, and diplomatic specialists. Their mission: establish contact with humanity and negotiate their return to galactic affairs. After 3 weeks of travel, the Harmony approached the boundary of what sensors identified as human space. Transmitting on all frequencies, they'd broadcast messages of peaceful intent. For 7 days, they waited in silence. Then, without warning, a human vessel materialized beside them. A sleek craft unlike the utilitarian designs humans had previously used in Council space. Its hull shimmered with energy patterns that defied conventional analysis. A holographic projection appeared on the Harmony's bridge. Ambassador Kari stood alongside unfamiliar officers, her expression neutral. "Greetings, Council delegation. I am authorized to speak on behalf of the United Earth Alliance and its associated worlds." Elder Varix stepped forward. "Ambassador Kari, we come seeking reconciliation and cooperation. The Council acknowledges grave errors in its approach to Earth and humanity." Kari's expression remained impassive. 6 months ago, such acknowledgement might have been meaningful. Today, it is merely a reaction to necessity. Nevertheless, Varix continued, We propose full membership for Earth in the Council, with all privileges and protections. We recognize humanity's unique contributions and seek to reestablish our relationship. A subtle smile crossed Corey's face. The United Earth Alliance is not interested in Council membership, Elder Varix. We've established thriving colonies in this sector. Our technology continues to advance without the constraints imposed by Council protocols. The non-human scientists and citizens who joined us have integrated seamlessly into our society. The delegation exchanged glances of alarm. This wasn't the desperate refugee community they had expected to find, willing to return to the fold in exchange for restored status. This was something entirely new in galactic history. A fully functioning interstellar civilization that had chosen independence over integration. What would it take, asked diplomat Ilzara, to open relations between our civilizations? Transparency, Cowrie replied without hesitation. The neural scans from the attackers revealed the extent of the Council's deception. For generations, you've manipulated younger species, controlled technological development, and maintained your dominance through information control rather than genuine advancement. She gestured, and the holographic display changed to show thriving human settlements and alien allies working alongside humans in laboratories, agricultural facilities, and civic centers. We've created something different here. A cooperative of species bound by shared values rather than political expedience. If the Council wishes to establish relations, it must accept fundamental reforms. Over the next month, negotiations proceeded cautiously. The delegation was permitted to visit human colonies, witnessing firsthand the rapid development that had outpaced all Council projections. Most striking was the integration of non-human residents, not as subordinates or allies of convenience, but as full participants in the new civilization. The terms humanity offered were unprecedented. The Council would undergo complete restructuring, eliminating the tiered membership system that had privileged ancient species. All technological research would be openly shared among member civilizations. Historical archives would be made public, revealing millennia of manipulation and controlled development.